Today's Jet Talk is going to be about the ladder of learning and fuel for your journey. Okay, so we're going to learn about the steps that we take in our life as far as learning. What are those steps and what do they look like? How many of you guys know who Deshauna Barber is? Raise your hand. A couple of you? That's okay, I didn't know who she was either till just recently, okay? So Deshauna Barber, she was 19 years old and she was working at Target. Okay, she was a Target worker and she was attending Virginia State. And she was joining the military. One day when she was working at Target, a woman came in and approached her and she said, "Hey, have you ever thought about being in pageants? Like competing in beauty pageants?" And Deshauna was like, "Oh, no, I've never even thought about that." Her whole life, she was what we call an army brat. She had moved around her entire life. And she was working at Target and she was going to school. It never even crossed her mind. And so she decided to start working with this woman, this coach. And for years and years, she practiced and she worked and she entered into pageants. And she didn't win a pageant for the first 4 tries, the first 4 pageants she entered into. And that was really hard and really devastating for her. She kept working and she kept working. Okay? After that many failures, she thought she'd give it one more try. Okay? In 2016, guess who became Miss USA? Me. You! Congratulations! We have Miss USA with us today. How exciting! Okay, so Deshauna Barber in 2016 was Miss USA. That's pretty incredible, right, you guys? If you guys want, go home today and YouTube her story and her experience. It's really cool and really inspiring. So I want you guys to think about her story as we go through the levels of learning today, okay? So, the ladder of learning, we need to understand where we are in the process. The more that we can understand about our process, right, the more our life is going to make sense. So we all go through this process as we learn and we grow. One of the greatest things to understand about ourselves is how we acquire new skills. Okay, so we're going to talk about 4 steps today. So the first one is called unconscious incompetence. I know those are fancy words, and I hope I can keep saying it without stumbling over my words, because it's kind of a mouthful, right? So this basically means that you don't know that you don't know. Okay? And this represents the yellow piece of this circle. There's so many things that we don't even know that we don't know. Right? And I'm going to give you an analogy to help this make sense to you. So, unconscious incompetence is basically like a baby. Babies, they don't know that they don't know how to walk, they don't know that they don't know how to talk, they don't even know that they don't know how to do anything. Right? It's a pretty innocent stage. Okay? How many of you guys wish you were still a baby sometimes? Oh my gosh, that would be great, right? Life is so easy as a baby. Everybody just takes care of you and they coddle you. You don't have to make any decisions. Life is so easy. You don't even have to worry about what you're going to eat because you just get fed. It's awesome. So I have an experience that I want to relate to this of how unconscious incompetence experience that I had a few years ago. So a few years ago I had this brilliant idea that I was going to train for triathlon. Okay, so triathlon includes what? Okay? Swimming, biking, and running. Okay? So I knew that I could bike, I knew that I could run, but I didn't know that I couldn't swim. Okay? Especially this particular stroke. So I was in this really innocent phase. I had this great idea that this is what I was going to do. Okay? So that's an example of unconscious incompetence. So the second stage is conscious incompetence. All of a sudden, you know that you don't know. Okay, let's look at these babies. All of a sudden, they know. They're aware now that they can't walk. And they're like, oh, great. Now I know I can't do that. I didn't even know this before. Now what am I going to do? Okay? Now what are you going to do? In my case, I decide to start training for this triathlon. I go and hop in the pool for my first day of swim training. Okay? I start to swim the freestyle. Guess what? I don't even move forward in the pool. Like, I don't even move. My husband was there with me. He was my coach. He's a swimming coach. And I couldn't even move forward because something's wrong with my feet or something. They don't point, so I can't kick and I can't move. And I was like, what is going on here? And so I look over at Todd, my husband, and I'm like, kind of laughing because I'm shocked that I don't even know how to do this. I knew other strokes. And he's like, Gina, I don't even know what to tell you. I've never even seen this before. Well, great. Well, this is great. Thanks, honey. I sure appreciate it. Okay? So at this point, now I know that I don't know how to swim. It's kind of a crappy place to be, right? I'm like, I have all these dreams and goals, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm going to be a triathlete. I can't wait to do my first triathlon, but I can't swim. Okay? It's a perfect example of conscious incompetence. Okay? It's not a fun place to be. Okay? Look at this poor baby. Okay? She's like, I'm going to try walking because I know, I feel like I need to do this, and it's a tough place to be. But babies are the best example of how to manage conscious incompetence, okay? Because guess what babies do when they're trying to learn how to walk? What do? They keep going, okay? Have you guys ever seen a baby who didn't learn how to walk? Every baby's they all learn how to walk. Because guess what? They don't quit. Okay? They don't quit. So this stage is really important. You can never go back and pretend you don't know. A lot of people try to go back and pretend they don't know. Okay? They try to pretend they didn't know. But guess what? You can't ever pretend. I couldn't ever pretend that I didn't know how to swim. That was the reality. I can't pretend that. Okay? All right, let's look at the next stage. So conscious competence. This is the part where you know and you can do it, but it feels forced and awkward. Okay? It feels forced and awkward. It's not natural yet. Okay? You can look at this baby. He's getting better at walking. Okay, but it still looks a little bit awkward. This stage can be a little frustrating, but it's a sign that you're growing and you're getting it. Okay, your performance improves. So at this stage for me, when I'm swimming, okay, this was the stage before and this stage was a really painful stage for me because guess what? I don't even like to swim. Okay? Which is really funny that I even had this brilliant idea to do a triathlon. I don't even like to swim, but that's part of the reason why I wanted to do it. Because I want to overcome things in my life and try to be the best I can. Right? So in this stage, this is where the practice really kicks in. I would go and I would swim at the rec center 3 times a week. And my goal for my triathlon that I was training for was to swim a full mile. Okay, for swimmers, that's not a big deal. How many swimmers do we have in here? Raise your hand. Okay, is swimming a mile that hard for you guys? Probably not. It's probably part of your warm-ups, right? Okay, but for me, swimming a mile was a big deal because I couldn't even swim 1 lap, right? And for me, I have this problem. I'm not sure if I skipped this part in swimming lessons when I was a kid, but I don't have the ability to keep water from going into my nose. Do you guys have that problem? Does anyone have that problem? It's kind of hard, right? So for me, learning how to swim this particular stroke, the freestyle, I went and bought a nose plug, so I could wear it on my nose. I have to plug my ears with earplugs because I have really bad eardrums. All of it was just a circus, right? And I would have to go to the rec center with my husband, who was my swimming coach, and he would work with me. And so at day 1, I couldn't even swim a lap. Literally, I couldn't swim from one end of the pool to the other without panicking. I don't like my face in the water. besides the fact that my feet couldn't kick, they didn't work, right? So throughout a few months, I would work really hard. I would go and I would swim and I would work on my feet. And I would watch videos and I would figure out how to do this freestyle stroke. Okay? And it still felt a little bit awkward and forced. But slowly but surely I could swim a couple laps. And the next thing I knew, I could swim a half mile, which was a huge milestone for me. Okay? But it was still a little bit forced, but my performance was improving. The last stage is unconscious competence. So this is the point where you know that you can do it and you just go. This is a really great place to be. How many of you guys have been at this place with something in your life? Raise your hand. Okay. This is a really great stage to be, right? This is the payoff stage. This is where you're like, gosh, I'm so grateful that I can finally do this. This is mastery and high performance. Happens way more consistently. It opens up new skills and new levels of performance. This is when you don't really have to think about it, okay? So finally, I get to the end of my training. I've worked through all of these stages, and it's the day of my race. Okay, I did an Olympic distance triathlon. It was a really scary day for me, but I like to compete and I like to get better, like I said. At this point, I was really grateful that I was at stage 4 because I had a lot of other anxiety that I needed to deal with in this competition. There's a lot of people swimming. I was swimming in open water. It was a river, okay? And that was really scary for me. I don't like to swim in open water because there's lots of weird things swimming around, okay? That makes me nervous. But by this time, I was at stage 4, and I was confident that I can go into this triathlon and I could swim. And I did. I finished the triathlon, and it was a really awesome experience for me. And guess what? I have a new goal. I'm going to train for a half Ironman next year. That's my new goal, and I want you guys to follow up with me, okay? So the path to mastery, there are 3 ways to look at the path. The first one is what we want or expect, what it feels like, and what it actually is like. So let me explain this. Okay, so this is what we want or what we expect. We want growth to look like this green arrow going up, right? Do we want our lives to be smooth sailing? Raise your hand if you want your life to be smooth sailing. I totally do. I want life to be easy and to just keep moving up. I don't want to experience any hiccups or heartache, right? So this is what we want. But guess what? This is not a realistic expectation. We all know that, okay? So this is actually what it feels like. Do your guys' lives ever feel like this? Does it feel like it right now? It does? Awesome, because this is what my life feels like right now too. Okay? So this is what it feels like, right? You're all over the place. Okay, some days you feel like you're doing great. Some days you're like, oh my gosh, my life's the pits. You're trying to learn a new skill. Okay, you're trying to learn how to walk. You're trying to learn how to learn math. You're trying to learn how to be a better basketball player. Whatever you're trying to do in your life, okay, you can feel like you're all over the place. Okay, but this is actually what it is. Okay, so if we look at the blue line, this is exactly what it is. This is how life is, okay? We'll experience plateaus, we'll be cruising along, life will feel really great, okay? And sometimes it won't feel really great at all. It'll go up and down, so it'll go up and down for your entire life, through all of time, okay? Even when you kids get to be my age, this is still true. So the goal is not to work and work and work so that you'll never have a hard day. Because the older you get, you're still going to have hard days and you're still going to get discouraged. Okay, that's just the truth. So the best athletes in the day, the Gretzkys, the Michael Jordans, they all had a coach. Still to this day, the best have coaches. Because the coach can see what you can't see. Okay, do you guys think that's true? How many of you guys have a coach in your life that you like or that you love? Raise your hand. Okay, awesome. Coaches are really great things to have. I have lots of coaches. I am a coach. I think coaching is one of the greatest things that anybody could do or anybody could utilize. Make sure you find a coach. Fall in love with the process of becoming great, okay? So commit to climbing the ladder. Commit to love the plateaus and the failure, okay? We actually have to love the failure part. We do. Commit to finding a coach and commit to never stop trying. Let me just check our time real quick. Okay? Do you guys think that car is pretty awesome? You don't like that car? You're crazy. That's a pretty sweet car, right? Awesome. Okay, look at these guys. Oh yeah, look at those cars. All right? These are super high performance cars, right? So if we want to get the most out of these cars, how would we fuel them? Okay? Do we use water? Yes? Do we use regular gas? No. Do we use premium fuel? What about the best fuel you can find? For sure, right? Okay? So let's talk about the real high-performance vehicle. Guess what the real high-performance vehicle is? You guys. Okay? You nailed it. It's you. That's exactly right. Okay, so the fuel you put into your heart, mind, matter. We're going to close with this, okay? 6 ways to fuel your mind. What are you watching? Okay? What are you reading? What do you listen to? How do you talk to yourself? Okay, you guys, this one is really important. Listen up before we finish up, okay? Positive self-talk. If you guys can have positive self-talk and positive affirmations, it's going to get you a long way in life, I promise you. I know this because I practice it every day. Okay, what are you visualizing? And who do you surround yourselves with? Okay, that's a big one too. Who are you surrounding yourselves with? We need to make sure that everything you are putting into your mind and your heart is going to build you to be the best high-performance vehicle you can be. Okay? So the last thing, these are the skills to practice. Climb the ladder of learning. What we talked about today, climb the ladder of learning and embrace it. Okay? Stick to the path to mastery and fuel yourself well for your trip. All right? Last thing I want to say before I let you guys go. And I always say this when I get done speaking. Okay? There's a lot of people in your lives that love you and accept you for who you are. You guys have a seat. We're not done. Have a seat, please.
Oh, I can't charge the bus.
No, have a seat. We're not done. We're just about
Come
done.
on!
Okay, go ahead and go. That's fine. I didn't know that. Okay, last thing I wanted to tell you guys. There's a lot of people in your lives that love you guys and that accept you for who you are. Okay? We want you guys to know that there's a lot of people here at this school that care about you and that we want you to be successful in your life, and we want you to find out who you are deep down inside of yourself. And we hope that you guys really take these things that we're teaching you and that you guys listen to your Jet Time teachers and that you really connect with them and connect with other people at the school that care about you. That's what our hope is for you, and we hope that you have the same hope. But we can't control your lives and we can't make you do things. Okay? But we are here for you if you need help. So I love you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks for coming.